Going on, family? It's your boy Tonyo, the Quiet Storm, coming at you with another video. This video is gonna be a little bit different than the first two that I showed you. It was about my car, but as I mentioned in my description, it's gonna be more than just about cars. It's gonna be about motivation, inspiration. Some hopefully I can encourage somebody and push them that sky's the limit. Well, sky's past the limit, so you can always do more you know than you think you can. But this video, I was actually honored to be a part of. It's a podcast, pretty much. So you're gonna have audio. It's gonna be more so audio. So you'll hear the audio for a podcast that's called Let's Chat, and it's more so about careers and career development. It was with Morgan Ray. Shout out to her, and I was honored for her to ask me to do this, and hopefully it'll inspire some of your youth, especially some of your college students or even high school students. If you want to go into the IT field, maybe give you a little bit of direction. So, without no further ado, we'll get into the podcast, and I'll get back with you. All right.
Good afternoon. This is Morgan Ray, and you're joining me for Let's Chat Careers and Career Development from Durham Technical Community College. Today, we are meeting with Antonio. Antonio is going to share with us a little bit about his career journey and background, and I hope that our listeners enjoy and get some good insight. So, Antonio, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Antonio Gatling. I'm currently working as an IT support specialist too at a company called right now. I've been in the industry for actually over 15 years, but I actually been working for about 2 years now.
Okay, great. So being that you're in the IT world, Antonio, I definitely wanted to bring you on because this is one of our largest programs at Durham Tech as well. So we have a lot of IT and development students out there. So can you share with us, how did you find your way to this career and tell us about the path that you took to get there?
Basically, well, I've always been a person that likes to tinker around with things, especially when I started messing with computers. And I guess it all started with playing games on the computers and whatnot. So that kind of caught my interest of being in computers and whatnot. And I wanted to basically learn how they worked. So as I got older, and for the grades, such as middle school, high school, start tinkering around with computers a little bit more. Also, kind of got into the electronics side of it, which is the inside of the computer, which is probably one of the best things to do to learn the inside of the computer and how things work, and then work your way out. So basically, been pretty much in it ever since, and still learning.
Yeah, I bet IT is one of those things that I've told students. It's just like a whole nother animal language. It's like this foreign thing to me, you know,
Right.
and just always growing.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So do you think, when you decided to pursue like your education and everything like that, were you always thinking of IT?
I would say I was because, like I said, I've always had a thing for computers and I always wanted to know how they work and how they learn, how they, maneuver and whatnot. So I've pretty much been tinkering with them. Actually, built a couple of them myself, and made them work, which was a accomplishment, I would say. Because you like, hey, you putting all these little parts and pieces together, and you're like, I wonder if it's gonna work. So so as I went to college, one of the greatest universities, North Carolina A&T State University. Went there, got my electronics technology degree. Um, Pretty much learned how the electronic parts work, and we also put a circuits and stuff together that made them work. And it was just, it's kind of fascinating to see things working. And you're like, hey, I did this. So pretty much anybody can do it. Just put your mind to it.
Okay. So it just sounds like your work is very satisfying and complex, but challenging, complex and challenging, but realistic for you and your personality. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay. Okay. So kind of jumping back into, as you were going down this path, one of the questions I've been talking to some of the other professionals about is, when you were 8 years old, what did you think you would be doing as a career?
Oh wow. 8 years old. I guess like any other youngster growing up. 8 years old, I guess I wanted to be a police officer, more so like I guess a highway patrol state trooper type.
Mm.
So I wanted to get into that, but then I was like, then computers came along, so I'm like, well, I'm changing my career.
Got it. All right. Well, that's interesting too. I know we got a couple people that said like singers and ball players. You said you want to be a state trooper, and then you just kind of transitioned.
Well, it kind of, growing up, I was, always, I played basketball and whatnot. Played basketball, football, of course. Also played football in the minor leagues as well. But I guess God chose a different path for me. So I stayed with computers. And even though I played, football while I was working in IT, but, I enjoyed it. But, computers is where it's at.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like you kind of had like a learned love. Like as you grew up, you had this acquired love for IT and computers and building things and working with your hands. Was there anyone specific that might have influenced you directly or indirectly, or an experience that propelled you in this industry? That might have influenced you.
I wouldn't say that they influenced me far as being in the career that I'm in, but they, taught me the meaning of hard work.
Mhm.
And, without hard work, you can't get anywhere without, doing your work. You can't just sit around and watch somebody else do the work and then you try to reap benefits. It doesn't really work that way. So you definitely got to put in your work, put in your time for it, and definitely you'll be successful that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when thinking about that success and getting there and that hard work, I imagine everybody hits a couple bumps in the road. So
Oh
what
yeah.
do you think, what would you say was the most difficult part about breaking out into your career professionally, beyond, when you were learning things, but like breaking out into the actual industry, what was the most difficult part?
Um, I would say some of those, I guess, while I was in school, some of those classes that really didn't pertain to what I wanted to do,
Mm,
kind of, kind of struck me. I'm like, hey, what do I need this for? But then later on, you kind of tie everything into each other because it all works together.
mhm,
So I'm kind of like, hey, why do I need this class for? Why do I need that class for? And then later on, you learn, hey, I really did need that class, and
mhm,
you pretty much keep going like, okay, so yeah, maybe I did, take it, didn't take it for nothing, but
mhm.
took it, to learn more and to enhance your career
Yeah.
and your knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that too, because I know a lot of students feel that way about like the general ed courses, or even like a core class that they might not in the moment see how it relates.
Right.
You're like, like you just said, what will I need this for? But then it sounds like, later on down the road, it came in handy. There was an instant gratification from it, but that long term, we got to think grand scheme of things. I can relate to that.
Right, right, exactly. I mean, it's like those science, especially those science classes. You're like, oh man, what I need this for chemistry and all that stuff. But it's definitely it's worth taking. Don't try to just breeze through it. Learn all you can. So, just keep your knowledge fresh.
Okay. All right. So, what would you say? I know you said earlier that you really enjoyed like the hands-on part, but to dive a little bit deeper, what would you say is your favorite part of being in your career and working in this industry?
My favorite part is, I would really say, the interaction with the people. You
Mm,
know, you meet different people all the time. You get, especially in your work environment, you work with them all the time. You get to know them, to learn them and how they work, and they get to learn you and see how you work.
mhm,
So that kind of develops a trust thing between each other, especially if you're new. You have to earn that, because a lot of people, if you're newly in the company, and they're seeing, oh, there's a new person here, but I don't really want him working on my computer because I don't know him. So
mhm.
it's definitely a learning path for each other, for them to learn you and for you to learn them. So once you get on that path, and you start doing things, they see like, hey, this guy's good. Hey, I can call on him anytime. Hey, and you have that trust relationship, and may develop into a friendship, and you be able to just have fun,
Yeah,
doing what you do.
I agree. You've got to be friends with your IT folks.
Indeed, indeed.
You make things at work run so much better. and
Yep.
and I agree with you from the perspective of, working with IT in the workplace and having to rely and depend on our IT guy.
Right.
And just, it is a trusted relationship because, without them, we can't do our work.
Exactly. Exactly. And like I said, it basically, it shows you that, hey, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. And then even at work, even things that outside of work may be able to help you, while you're at home, especially if you're asking questions that IT guy at your job or whatever. Ask them, hey, I got a personal question. What do you do with da 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 and this and that? And he answers the question. You say, hey, he makes suggestions for you. So
Mhm.
you go home and try it. Like, hey, that's all right.
Right, right. So I'm glad that you said that, the relationships that you build working in your industry, because I also think there's some um, negative stigmas, or just different stigmas about IT people. And I think I've even thought this at times, that IT folks can often be, you know, um, I don't want to say isolated, but just not always that interactive person. Like they prefer to work independently and individually. But from what you sound like, it's not always like that. But I wonder if that's just your position, or do you think that's across the board for different, information technology, software development, cloud systems, things like that?
IT is kind of widespread. It's not just me working on the hardware of your computer. IT is widespread. Where IT can consist of network security, um, hardware, software, what
Hmm.
have you. So it's basically widespread.
Hmm.
So it's sometimes people may want to be to themselves and whatnot. I'll say like maybe like a system administrator, network administrator, or whatnot. They may not interact a lot with the customers because they're actually working on the hardware side of it. So they're kind of, to themselves. But like somebody with like in a help desk
Hmm.
um, role or whatnot, they're out there doing the work. So it's a little bit different, but IT is widespread, so it just all depends on your role.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, and I think that, when I've talked to some students before, that some might prefer to kind of not have a lot of client interaction, and that's okay too. Um, but I think it's a good thing to hear that you can do a little bit of both. You can be involved with your customer or client directly, regardless of the area that you kind of branch off to. Um, and you can also have that independent work if that's what you want.
Right, right,
So
right.
I think that's a good thing to kind of put it out there, especially for students or individuals that are listening that are unsure. They're thinking, oh, IT is going to be so hard. And we're not saying that it's easy, but it's still an option, because it's a complex option that you have.
Yeah, yeah.
So with that said, if you had to, let's say, mentor or give some tips to someone interested in pursuing a career in information technology or any of those, electronics engineering or anything like that, what would you tell them?
I guess the first thing I would basically tell them, figure out what you actually want to learn about IT. Like I said, it's widespread. Like I said, from security. Like I said, if you want to be a system administrator, network administrator, it pretty much decide on what you want to do and focus on that particular career or goal, if that's a goal for you. Um, because you can always grow.
Hmm.
You can go either way, or you can learn everything. Try to learn everything, but it's going to take you a while. You're not going to learn everything in 4 years or 8 years. It takes a lifetime to learn a lot of stuff because it's so widespread. But I would say to focus on what you actually want to do within IT. Um, my suggestion would probably start off with, like I did, pretty much start off with the basics and learn the inside out of computers and whatnot, and then focus on either networking or security, that type of stuff, and learn all you can, read up and take tests, get your certifications and whatnot that help you out along the way as well.
Okay. So that's a good segue into another thing I want to talk about is your certifications. That is, something that's extremely important in the information technology security area. Um, can you tell me, what does that career development mean in your field? Like, what difference does that make truly?
It's a big difference, I would say. For as career development, technology is changing every day, as we know. From getting faster processors in computers, and switches, routers, what have you. Far as your networking goes, everything's changing. So every day is pretty much a career development type thing because you're learning new stuff all the time as it comes out. Um, Certifications, they definitely help you build up um, to learn all of these as well, and helps you to get higher up as well in a company
Mm-hmm.
because they see you, hey, you got this education, but also what helps you is your knowledge and your experience. So don't feel that you're going to start off at the top. um, you're going to actually eventually have to start at the bottom and work your way up,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of any type of career that you have.
Mm-hmm. I
So, so I would definitely say, every day is a learning experience in IT.
agree.
So everything's changing. As you see the industry, as far as electronic stuff goes, things are getting smaller, so it's getting kind of, a little more hectic, and stuff is more in depth and whatnot. So everything's changing. So pretty much learn everything that you can, or focus on a specific area that you want to work in.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing that I often talk to students about is organizations and the networking piece. How is that? How is networking and like different organizations, like professional development organizations in your area? Are you involved? Do you suggest that people get involved?
I wasn't really per se involved in a lot of the networking organizations around, but I would definitely suggest that to people, especially at an early time.
Hmm.
Um, if you're in school or whatever, um, when you're in the summertime and if you're not in summer school or whatever, I would say look for interns. Definitely look for internships,
Hmm.
and that's another way for you to get experience and to get your foot in the door somewhere. So definitely, I would definitely look into that um, to get experience, and then when you graduate, get out of school. If you're not going to go back to school, or if you choose to go back to school and work at the same time, hey, that could be your foot in the door.
Okay. Now, I know another assumption or fear has been students that are still in training, right? And then they go out to an internship and they always wonder or fear, like, I don't know this stuff. How are they even going to offer me this internship? And my perspective or my advice has always been, remember, an internship is an opportunity for you to train and to contribute the knowledge that you do have. So you bring what you already have
Right.
and you continue to grow upon that. Would you agree with me?
I would definitely agree with that, because internships, even though you might not know everything, that's why it's called an internship.
Hmm.
They're not there. You're going there to not only to help out, and share your knowledge. You're also going there to learn more
Hmm.
at what you don't know. And then you can like, oh, hey, I want to learn a little bit more like that about this area. So, and you can learn it while you're there. And then, once the internship finish, you can keep reading up on it and continue to learn it. And then maybe the following summer, you get the same internship with the same company and learn more. So I would definitely say that's a good way to learn.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I just, I feel so bad for students sometimes because they think just because they've never had that experience before that like they have to come in knowing everything. And you
No,
don't.
that's definitely not going to happen because I mean, I still don't know everything. Like, to be honest with you, I'm still learning myself because everything's changing a lot. So you're definitely not going to learn. You definitely got to know everything wherever you go. It's everything's a learning process because you have to learn, how that company does things first, and then maybe put in your knowledge on how to make things better.
Hmm.
So it's all a learning process. You never like they say, you never stop learning.
Right, lifelong learning.
Right.
And yeah, which is what you said earlier, that, it's going to be a lifelong process of learning. Everything is constantly changing. You
Yep.
got to stay on top of your P's and Q's at all times.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, all right. So now that you've shared with us, what professional development and career development looks like in your field with the certifications, always learning, um, if you were to define career development or share what career development means to you specifically, what would you say?
I will say just learning, like I said before, learning. Learning. Within the field, just keep learning. You never stop learning. Like that's pretty much career development to me.
I agree. I agree. I think a lot of people in different industries, so there's some things, it's like everything connects, everything is related. Um, and then there's always that one little piece that stand out a little bit more, you know. And I
Right.
think for you, based on what you've shared and based on, you know, the knowledge that I already have, even though, you know, I might not be an IT professional, but as a career development professional, you know, knowing that getting into that certifications, getting into being willing to go out there and train hands on in that
Right.
internship area, how detrimental that is going to be in your success, and
Right.
that it's not going to happen overnight, and that you know, like you said earlier, Antonio, you got to put in that work. You got to put in the work, and it will
Exactly.
pay off.
Definitely got to put in the work for it. And also as as they're in school and whatnot, they may have different types. If they look up, they may have like different types of labs and other information that they can do as well to learn. So
Mhm.
it's all about learning.
Okay. Okay. And I know you said you're working for like a biotech company now. As far as like looking for jobs in this area, you know, were you ever hesitant on like what types of companies to explore, or do you think you had good knowledge about that?
Um, I wouldn't say I was hesitant. But far as learning the company, is best to learn the company that you are applying for, and make sure you know a little bit of what they do. Um, as far as because I've been from now doing a biopharma tech company. I worked for this university. I've I've been at the NIH Institute. So I came from different areas, different companies. So, but it's always good to know what the company does.
Okay. Yeah. And just knowing, I think the important thing for students in IT, software development, electronics engineering, and engineering in general is that these roles are everywhere. They are
Yes,
everywhere, and they're embedded within other industries. So the options are out there. Would you agree?
yes. Without computers and us, pretty much without IT, can't nobody run nothing. So you got to have IT everywhere. Regardless if it's the websites or whatever, you got to have IT.
So I think you gave some really good nuggets of information, and shared, you know, your very direct path in entering your industry, and that you've been successful in it. So I want to just take a second to thank you again, Antonio, for participating in this activity as we celebrate National Career Development Month, as one of the career counselors at Durham Tech, and as the chair for the North Carolina Career Development Association, the chair for this activity for Career Development Month, and I'm also the national chair as well. So I don't know if you knew that. So this was a project that I thought would be really good, and you know, help get that information out to people on a personal level. You know,
Right.
someone that they can relate to, someone that is in their community, and I just again thank you on multiple levels for participating.
And I appreciate you having me. Thank you for this opportunity, and hopefully we can do it again.
Yes, yes, we'll do. All right. So this is Morgan Ray signing out from Let's Chat Careers and Career Development.
And welcome back. Hope you all enjoyed the podcast. Hopefully, some of you may have learned some couple things, or even got some direction on the way that you want to go with your life. Yeah. But if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to comment, to like this video, comment on it, and I'll get back with you, try to answer your questions. Until then, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. As I end this video, God made all things possible. Nothing's impossible. because once you have God head of your life or whatnot, He will direct your path. So nothing's impossible. All things are possible. Until the next video, I will holler at you later.